It's a long walk, isn't it? Right, good morning, everybody. Michael, thank you very much for that warm welcome. Good morning and kia ora, everybody. It is an absolute pleasure. I'm very excited to be able to speak to you today, and thanks for turning up. It's a real privilege. It's great to be back in my old town as well, and God, it's a beautiful place. I don't think there's a better-looking city in the world. I mean, maybe apart from Auckland, but we'll have a debate about that. But shit, this place is amazing. It's beautiful, incredible people. And I must say, you've come a long way. My last trip here was 15 years ago. The place is transformed, and I think you mustn't forget how far you've come already. Because incredible things. This stadium is probably one of the best stadiums in the world. It's in a great location, too. You could have put it miles outside of town, and how would everyone have got there? They actually just walked from the station. You know, these are important things. The waterfront is, I think, the best waterfront in the world. In Auckland, we're trying to build ours, but we're a long way from yours. It is the best, and the BRT system and the talented products that I've seen here exposed and, in a way, promoted upstairs in the exhibition just shows me the depth of your design talent in this country. I think you're doing really well. So, anyway, I'd like to congratulate Mayor Delil, the Premier Zilla. I'd also like to thank Richard Perez and the City Council team, for inviting me to be here today. I'd like to thank ICSID as well. I've met all the team there, and also the WDC 2014 team. Elaine, Nikki, and Lisa and the team, a really super bunch of people. So, look, I've been made to feel really, really welcome. It's also been a privilege in the last 24 hours to hear my sort of learned colleagues. I've been scribbling and stealing ideas and tweeting things. An incredible bunch of people with just incredible minds. So I've learned so much already, and it's been well worth the trip just coming here. So look, today I'd like to talk about urban design, and I think that's a different conversation that hasn't been had yet. And I'd like to talk about the urban design of cities. In some respects, I would say the grandest of designs, potentially. And I'd like to cover a story about what I see as an emergence of a new set of new cities which are being transformed through a design-led agenda that, in fact, I believe are leading the way around the world and giving hope and inspiration to many cities around the place. I'd then like to talk a little bit about Auckland's design-led agenda, what we're doing to inculcate the design thinking into the consciousness and actually the DNA of the organization, because that is where it has to start, and then to inculcate that and infiltrate that into the city, the psyche of the citizens of Auckland, because without them we can't do it. It's a co-creation piece. So that's really the story, and at the end I might just touch on a few learnings, perhaps, as we're all learning every day. Every day we learn. If we don't learn, we die. And so every day I try to pick up ideas. So we're doing a good job, but it's an experiment, and I think that point is well made earlier. So look, I've got some slides. They're all very colourful and hopefully graphic. I hope you enjoy it. Oh, it's the wrong presentation. No, I'm joking. Right, this is an important slide because, just quickly, think globally, act locally. It's really important, and I think Premier Zilla and also your wonderful Mayor, Delil, talked about this. This is an important piece. The important story, however, for me, and I guess for people like me, is the importance of what we do. Not many people get a second chance in life and I think the cities of the industrial age have really messed up our planet and have made some serious mistakes, and we're going to repair this. It's a bit like salt in cooking. Once it's in, it's bloody hard to get out. And we are now repairing and retrofitting our cities. And I see some of the remnants of the old ways, the old motorway system still here. We should do something with that. We should make it into a waterfall or something, with a pool for children to swim in. I mean, anyway, let's think about this. The point about the global discussion here is that of the cities of the world only cover 1% of the world's Earth's surface, yet consume 80%, 85% of the world's energy, and will emit over 75–80% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. The future of the world will be dependent upon how we design, how we plan, how we build our cities. It's quite simple. What an amazing opportunity for us all to work together. So, you know, design is a word I've often heard used but never quite understood the meaning of, and that was an interesting quote from a folk song hero back in the 50s. But I think we have to understand what type of design we're talking about here. So today it's about urban design. So I've got 35 minutes. I hope I hold your attention. I thought I'd just take you through a few stories about this post-industrial conversation. Here's Oxford Circus in London, designed by traffic engineers. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to be a little bit targeted here today, about a very single functional use. Here it is today. You know, very quickly you can transform your cities. They deliver for people, and they also deliver efficiencies. Here we have Chongqing in Korea, of all places. You know, you think about the design aesthetic there, and obviously well-designed capital. This is the old way. This is today the water project, the river project, where people now are congregating to and coming back from the city. And people are flocking to these places. It's not rocket science. People are very straightforward, actually. They like certain things. We like each other, surprisingly. We don't go to empty restaurants, do we? We all queue up outside nightclubs. You know, I mean, in a way, they probably... Anyway, look, it's an interesting thing. We like each other. People like people. It's a surprising thing. We like to be intimate, but we also like solitude. But we like each other. And New York has done an incredible job, led by Mayor Bloomberg and his team, the High Line. This wonderful project in Rio. It's a road, but it's also a place. And it's about creating places out of spaces. And this is a wonderful... This is in Germany. This is a 1 kilometer long trampoline. It was on an old railway line. And I think we've got to have a bit more fun in our cities. It's getting a bit serious sometimes, you know. Everyone's a bit self-obsessed and a bit sort of looking at themselves, oh my God, this is really complicated. It's not complicated, it's complex. But you can have a bit of fun in your city. Let go, let your hair down. Oh shit, I wish I had some. But you know, I used to. And here is, where is this? The south of France. No, it's central Paris. You know, you've got to have an opportunity. You could do this in your city. You could create a beach, in the middle of your central city, down Adderley Street, for crying out loud. It's right there. Beautiful weather. Why not do it? Bring the sand in and get people excited about and fall in love with their city. So some global inspirations, because I think this is the key thing here. I'll travel through these rather quickly because these give me inspiration and a bit of hope. Here's Glasgow. Always suffered from the ugly sister syndrome. Edinburgh, the beautiful city, the grand city. Glasgow used to be the wealthiest city in the world, in the whole world. And then it just fell off the edge of the earth as the industrial age progressed, the shipbuilding changed, the trade changed. They had to do something. It was an economic crisis. They cleaned their buildings. That was one of the strategies. They cleaned the old dirt. Like having a good scrub in the morning. It was the process. And, 78% of people are now proud to live in Glasgow. The population is rising. The first time in decades, they have hosted the Commonwealth Games. I mean, this is the European capital of culture, for crying out loud, from a place that was nothing. So Glasgow is great again. Melbourne, an empty, useless city. That was how it was in 1978, Melbourne. It was a dump. Anyone's been to Melbourne today, it's an extraordinary place. It's the world's most livable city, time and time again. They have a design guy there called Rob Adams, who's been there 25 years, driving the change, the urban design-led renewal of a city, driving a people city. People are what makes cities, not the car. They're the economic powerhouse. Bilbao, an incredible place in the northern Spain, post-industrial wasteland. Nobody wants to go to Bilbao. Everybody wants to go to Bilbao. Not only was a transformation through the Guggenheim Museum, but it's the Guggenheim effect. It's not just about one building. It's about a whole system of projects, a new BRT, an underground system, a mayor who drove this forward. It's a place where people now flock for design, rationale. They flocked to the Guggenheim and to Bilbao almost on some kind of design pilgrimage. So it was a dump. It is now a beautiful place. And so these cities are changing as they're reacting to things, to social, to cultural, to economic, to political crises or threat. And this man held Barcelona back for many, many years, stopped homosexuality, held back the creative industries, the arts people. He died, God bless his soul. And the city has been rejuvenated because the man is out the way. And obviously with the Olympics, which was, they secured that back in the 80s. But in 6 years, you can transform a city, which normally take 40 years to do. You do it in 6 years. So events are very, very important. No one Everyone likes a time frame and a deadline, and you can't say, sorry, we can't do it, because people are coming. London, the rise of Berlin, the rise of Germany in terms of the superpowers of finance. London had to change itself in the 90s and early millenniums and went through a whole design-led urban renaissance where millennium projects were built, and it was just an extraordinary time to be there and be part of this. But building capacity in the local authorities to deal with this, empowering the local architects, designers, artists to create beauty, and incredible places appeared all over London. And it was just a time when, very heady days. And here, be careful you don't forget what's in front of your very eyes. You have the most beautiful city on earth, potentially. This is an amazing place. Don't forget, make a plan. I mean, a Buddha mark a plan, yes it does, but it doesn't mean it has to be a perfect plan. And it never was perfect. Just do something. And look at it, and you have the mayor, you have the two most powerful women in Africa, Premier Zil and Dalil, who totally understand it. So what you guys have done here, Exit and the team, and WDC and Cape Town team, you've got the two most influential politicians on board. What more do you need? Get it, move it forward. You have a great city. You have doing great things. You've got Richard Perez and the team. They've got a new innovation team set up. I met a lovely guy called Core who's in the transport department, who's the innovation manager. How cool is that? Talk about these stories, because they're the real things that have happened through this. Taipei, I was there last month. I was there speaking. What an incredible city. I forgot how beautiful it was and how they led design for many, many years. The Taipei 101 was not only the tallest building in the world, but the most green. So they were leaders in their design field. But I think they're wanting to compete. They wanted to be seen as a superpower in Asia. And I found these slides yesterday and got them sent through last night. But they are beautiful. It's an incredible city. Trying to change. And Mayor Howe is a really outstanding man who gets design. He understands the political mileage too. And I think design is politics as much as it is anything. So, based on all these things, a couple of learnings, I suppose, is what is a city but its people? That was William Shakespeare, and Premier Zilla and also Mayor Dalil talked about this. The city used to be designed as a machine, the industrial age. It's actually a real person. It's an organism. It needs to be looked after. It's like a child. And it's not been very well looked after for many years. And so you have to understand what people need. So it's about people-centered design, understanding what they need and designing it for them. They are the customer, not the traffic engineers or the moving from A to B quickly. The people, the enjoyment of the city, the emotion, the heart, the soul. And there's a couple of simple things for me as an urban designer which drives my thinking. What is the first thing an infant wants to do, and the last thing an older person wants to give up is walk. It's interesting walking around the city. I run every morning here. It's quite hard at times, broken pieces. But in Auckland, it's really hard to cross the road. This old man, no one stops for him. He's left in the middle, and he doesn't know what to do. One of my team took this photograph and actually got out the car and went and helped him across the road. So we've designed our cities for the car, and it's become an addiction, stronger than heroin or smoking. It has become almost our essence of who we are. And it's become so bloody stupid that people are taking this approach for their cities. And it's sad, but it's funny, but it's sad that people are so bloody lazy, because people are actually very, very lazy. And if you build a city that makes it easy for people to behave badly, they will behave really badly. You have to make it fun to behave properly, or make it fun to do the right things. So if you want to move somebody to a new place in their life, or a new direction, a new design policy for the city, make it fun. If it's not fun, I spend my life at my work. My wife, says it's your mistress, but if it's not fun, why would I wake up in the bloody morning? So you've got to make it fun. It's got to be entertaining. But people are lazy, and they are not that complex. Speed is important. The higher the speeds, the less you know your neighbor. So that conversation just now with the team, I thought that was brilliant. It's about your neighborhood. Break the neighborhood. It takes a village to bring up a child. That's the wonderful African saying, and I've heard many from wonderful people like Mugeni and the team. But the higher the speeds, the less you know your neighbor. Isn't that a bad situation to be in? Now here's just London quickly, and I'd like you to see this one. This is where traffic engineering has gone nuts, where it is designed for who is the customer. And this is an old man and his son. They're going down underground because that's the only way they have This is North London. So they've gone down, it's really hard to see it, but they're underneath the ground at the moment, where all the feces, the rubbish is collected, where people sleep. It's a frightening place to be underground. It's like people escaping from Kosovo, for God's sake. They're jumping over barriers. These people, it's a disgrace. You know, like there's the old man coming up out of the subway. That is what traffic engineering, single functional, monofunctional, silo thinking delivers. Yes, the cars are happy, but we want to make people happy. And that old man has a very low level of appetite for risk. His son has too, his grandson. They're not going to jump over that barrier. They can't. Physically they can't, and why would they? And why should they? But these other guys, they've got a high appetite for risk, so they can jump over, like you know, the young gazelles. But the point is, the old man's underground, where the dirt and the, you know, people sleep, rust sleepers and stuff. It's not a great place to be. And that's really what we've got to change. It's about integrated thinking, multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary thinking to build better cities. So what about Auckland? You know, Auckland, firstly, is not in Australia, so just everybody, just so you understand. I get sort of, everyone, I was on a ferry going to work the other day. I live on the other side of that, across the water there. I come to the city every day on a ferry, and this American lady was talking to her friend in America, and she says, "Oh, gee, honey, I'm in Auckland, Australia." And I actually grabbed the phone from her. I did it very nicely anyway, but I said, "Excuse me, madam, but we're in New Zealand. That's a different part of the world." And I think it's important. There is no story for Auckland. You don't know. I don't know. Many of you probably know anything about Auckland. It's a really cool place, and it's got an amazing story, but no one knows it. So part of this design-led strategy is, in effect, a branding strategy, a marketing strategy, but design for us is our economic development strategy. So an urban design strategy is actually an economic development strategy. It's about attracting people, smart, young, old, doesn't matter, but intelligent, smart people, entrepreneurs to your city. Because why would they come to our city when they could go to Melbourne or Brisbane or Cape Town or Barcelona? You've got to give them something special. So we sit on this amazing isthmus. That's a volcano in the background. It's only 600 years old. It's an interesting city right on this harbour edge. But it also has the highest ownership of cars per head of capita in the whole world. How about that for something to be proud of? It is also proposed to be the third largest city in the world geographically. That is on the front page of its tourism books. That's absolute BS. But somebody thought that was good to put in there. Sounds good. We're big. It's a disgrace. 1.6 million people with the third largest city in the world. I mean, have these people who wrote this ever been to Tokyo or to LA or Mexico City? They obviously don't know what they're talking about. So it hasn't got an urban story. Everyone says to me how beautiful New Zealand is. Well, Jesus, we need more than beauty. We need economy, we need people, we need buzz, we need love, we need excitement. Nobody wants to come to a boring, beautiful place, you know, maybe for retirement perhaps, but that's not what we want. So we've got to change our city, and we're in a really good place, right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, right in the middle of the epicenter of Asia, India, Asia. What an amazing place. My old world was Europe. I've had to really shift my thinking. I'm in a new place with my wife and my kids. It's a very different place, but I think we're really well located. I won't go through the things, but we've got 1.6 million people in Auckland. It's not a huge city, but it's a growing city. And you think you have a cultural, sort of the Rainbow Nation? Well, we've got 180 ethnicities in our city. That's the Rainbow Nation too. So a lot of our cities are actually quite similar. How do you differentiate yourself? That's the key we're talking about here. We also have half of the country's GDP, so it's all happening in Auckland. It's an interesting model. So look, I'll gallop through these slides. We are going to double our population in the next 30 years. Not everybody is growing in their populations, but we are, because why wouldn't you want to live in Auckland? It's amazing. But it's changing. And so how do we deal with this? We also are ranked 69th in the OECD in 2011 for our sort of OECD per capita income. In 1960, New Zealand was the fourth most wealthy country in the world per head of capita in the whole world. That was at a time when we sold meat, wool, sheep, milk to the world. The EC happened. That's a crisis for New Zealand. At the same time, in 1960, Denmark was 42nd in the world. Well done, New Zealand. We've swapped places with Denmark. Denmark is now fourth, and we are 42nd. We have carried on with the agricultural economy. It's an old-fashioned, outdated dinosaur economy. We need to change to be innovative, sell our ideas, not our products, sell our ideas to the world. It costs nothing to send an idea on an email. You know, we can't sell things and transport them thousands of miles. It can be sold in a second across the world. How about we work while you all sleep? You can wake up in the morning and your new report, your legal report's done, your new auditing's done. So we work while the world sleeps. I mean, it's a whole different, it's a different approach to how you think. But we are competing, as I said, with world cities about this livability. And the word livability hasn't mentioned today yet, or yesterday even. But it is a way around standing. Livable cities are the way forward. How do we create livable, people-friendly cities? We're doing pretty well in Auckland, but it's because it's a beautiful place. Nothing to do with what mankind has done, or womankind. So we've got to change that. We're competing against these extraordinary cities who are all doing a really good job, who've been doing it for many more years than us. So here we are in Auckland. So the city's shame. So I took on this job because I thought there was a problem. There's a crisis about urban design in Auckland. And this is probably our most influential magazine in Auckland and New Zealand, and talked about the city's shame, its urban design. But here is the point I want to make. An energized city is a place where creative, entrepreneurial, forward-thinking people from every walk of life want to live, every class, every lifestyle want to be. Richard, Florida. Why would they want to be in Cape Town? Why would they want to be in Auckland? You have to think that really carefully. It's economics. It's all about economics. But we're doing some amazing things. Our story is changing. From a city that was not renowned for architecture, we won the world's best building last year in the whole world. We are the client for that as well. It's the most beautiful building that I've seen, the best library, I believe. I'm slightly arrogant, I guess, but I suppose, and this is just this year's winner. We won this year, not the overall one, but for the best building display, which is called the Kaitiaka, the cloak. And it's this extraordinary building. This was a top winner this year at the World Architecture Festival again. We're transforming. So we're having a revolution, a design revolution in Auckland. We're changing old, ugly streets that were just used for car parks and poles, white poles and car parking, and transforming those for cities for people. It's not rocket science. The people want to come to your city, but you've got to give them reasons to come and spend time. We've changed streets, which were just for loading bays and docks. We've taken the cars out. The loading is fine. People come a bit earlier in the morning, but the people come back. And the numbers are flocking back. They're eating outside. We never had people eating out in the streets. It's just a new thing in Auckland. But, but the retailers were really against this. I was almost, I remember my mayor got a letter saying, Ludo, someone's asked you to be fired because you are changing the city. You are designing a city for people. And they can't get their cars into these spaces. The CEOs of these companies want to drive from the East Coast, and I can imagine it happening here, from Remuera, from Constantia and so forth. I'm sure these people have a big impact on how the decisions are made. But we said, we're just going to get on and do it. And we just had to do it. It's not a popularity contest. And I've been given the mandate to get on and do it. So, I just do it, and the mayor protects me. I'm very lucky. And I pray that the day continues. But we change the city, and we don't always follow what the public always want, or what the retailers want, because actually they don't know what they're talking about in some cases. It's quite complex, this whole process. It's about balancing the professionalism and the public involvement, because the two have to come together. But at some point you've got to make a decision, make a plan, and say, thank you for the consultation, we've heard you, but we're going to do this, and stick to it. And so we've changed our streets, build them for shared spaces. I didn't create pedestrian zones, because then I would definitely be fired, because we have the highest ownership of cars per head of capita in the world. So we have to milk and wean people off the car, not completely eradicate it. So it's a pro-pedestrian, not anti-car. And here's the retailer lift, 439% uplift in retail takings. These are the retailers that told me that they didn't want the shared spaces. So sometimes you've got to listen, and sometimes you just got to do it. And it's about the balance. Here's our waterfront, which you won't know much about, but we had the Rugby World Cup in 2011. I won't say too much about that. But we decided to change our waterfront. It was the place where people would come into our city, where they would first be involved in our city. And that's all you had, a fish and chip shop and a few car parks. Here it is today, transformed in 3 years. 60,000 people came down. Everybody was whinging and moaning when we were going through the design work with the councillors who were administering this. They said, Ludo, why are we spending money on the Rugby World Cup? And I said, it's not about rugby, it's about people are coming back. And anyway, we did it, and it's beautiful. We've got a revolution in our parks. We're changing the old parks, redesigning them. Parks that nobody wanted to go into are now parks where everybody wants to go. 1,500% increase in people going to these spaces. They were always spaces that everyone knew about, but no one ever spent time in them. We're having a rail revolution as well. We got rid of all our trams in 1956. There's a wonderful tram display upstairs from Paris, and we got rid of our trams. We sold them to Melbourne, and we took their diesel trains and put them underground in Auckland. And we've now built a new station, and suddenly the rail patronage is trebling and tripling. We're building new transit-orientated development where the trains and the new buildings are integrated, and I think there's an opportunity here along your sort of very linear line to build above the railway tracks. We've got new integrated transport modes. And, you know, you don't have to listen to me. I mean, I suppose I'm a bit of a newcomer to Auckland, but how do Aucklanders feel about their city? Well, here's a couple of snapshots. 47% people more proud. And I love the one I have seen in my life at 72, the creation and the beginning of a great city, a resident of Auckland. So that, you know, there's a heart starting to form. And all these things gives us now a little bit of credibility that our design strategy is working and the people are responding. So I've got 13 minutes left, and I'm going to just gallop through a bit of how, because I think that's really what you need to know. Auckland used to have 8 councils. In 2009, we had 8 councils, all fighting each other. No one could make up their minds. Government decided to build a new waterfront stadium. So stadiums, interesting debate, conversation here. They offered it a brand new stadium, $1 billion on our waterfront. And do we want it? Make up your minds, Auckland. This is the 8 councils. Decide amongst yourselves. They couldn't organize the proverbial in a brewery. They couldn't organize and agree with each other, and the Aucklanders said no. I said yes, but it was my first 6 months in the job. I didn't know enough people, and we didn't get the stadium on the waterfront. We ended up having another stadium 15 miles away where everyone has to drive to, because that's what the Aucklanders wanted. Now, everybody says to me, what a great idea it would have been to have had the waterfront stadium. But, you know, people, you've got to just move. The government, Helen Clark, many of you will have heard of Helen Clark, probably one of the greatest politicians in the world, is currently the administrator for the UN. I hope she becomes the United Nations Secretary General. She forced an amalgamation of the 8 councils into one. It happened in 1 year, and we all became one. And it created one new super city, 9,000 people, one plan, one mayor, one me, one transport department, one direction, one budget, one set of plans, one set of guidelines, and we have one vision to be the world's most livable city. An extraordinary mayor who, he was going to come unfortunately, but asked me to come in his place, Mayor Lem Brown, an incredible guy who is leading the city like never before. He has given this one plan, and we have produced an Auckland plan, a 30-year strategy to transform our city. So you talk about plans, this is a 30-year plan. The key thing about plans is you've got to play in the middle 70, because what needs to happen is the plan has to survive the politics. So it has to be the right plan, not the right, not the left, but the middle. Play the middle game, down the middle of the pitch. Don't go down the sides because you polarize people. So the plan is primarily 80% right. It's not 100% right. It never will be. So if you guys think too much about the plan and how perfect you're going to make it, you won't achieve the plan. So make it 80% plan would be my advice. Moving that forward, we then bring a series of secondary plans which drive the original business plan. And so we have all these different plans which sit underneath the big Auckland plan. And the key thing about the Auckland plan are 6 sort of transformational shifts. We're not talking about a plan which is going to be incremental over a few years. We're talking about transformation. That word has come up many times in the last 48 hours. But the one I want to talk to you here about is to radically improve the quality of urban living. And the 6th, to significantly lift the Māori social and economic well-being. So I can see the similarities here, but that is my challenge, and I've been appointed to lead the charge around the design of the city, the urbanness of the city. And our economic development strategy is, in effect, our urban design strategy. The two things are inextricably linked. So here's a series of things which are the plan in terms of the strategy. It's about leadership from the top. You have to have these people bought in. You have Mayor DeLille and you have Premier Ziller. Use them. They're there. Give them a plan, a one-pager, and let's get on with it. But they've got to drive that from the top. If you have a problem, you go back up to them, and you challenge the organization all the time. If they have your back, you have their back. It's about not being a political appointment, but it's about having the confidence to say things that people may not want to say, to challenge people. Set the clear vision. Appoint a design champion. Get somebody in the organization to drive it through. It's not, as I said, it's not a popularity contest, but drive it from the top and drive it with the experience and skills. Appoint political champions as well. Give the politicians little sort of things which keep them moving in the right direction. And we have a series of things called buddies, where my urban design team buddy up with a politician to help them with training and advice, because it's complex and complicated, and it's an interesting world. Appoint a world-class team. I have 40 urban designers in my team. I have a team of 140 people, but I have responsibility for other areas. But I have a team. I have one of the best urban design teams in the world. There's people from Colombia, from Bogota, from France, from Paris, from New York, from London, from New Zealand. They've all come to be part of this exciting change. I'm very, very lucky. But it's a big team, probably one of the biggest teams in the world. But if you want to drive the agenda, you can't have two people. You need to have you need force to drive and that tsunami of power. We have a policy-making framework. Decide where you want to intervene, and intervene quickly and hard. Don't flip and flop and be all fragile about it. Decide where are the points you want to intervene. So acupuncture, I love that idea I've just talked about. But introduce the principles, the new direction, and get things moving. Set best practice. So I have a bizarre job where I have sign-off on all capital projects in the city. All capital projects over $2 million has to be signed off by me. If I'm going to be the design champion, I'm not going to be a champion to a project I had nothing to do with. So I say to people, I'm sorry, I didn't have anything to do with that. If I support it, then of course I will. But I need to be controlling the quality. And so we will review, a multidisciplinary review of the projects across the organization, the transport projects, the open space project. They come through the funnel and they get spat out at the end. We make it better. We don't make it perfect, but we make it better. We also review all private sector projects, because the private sector aren't building you a great city by themselves. They've got to do it together. Their drivers are different. Their commercial drivers are different. So you have to get them. So we have a system called the Auckland Urban Design Panel, where we peer review all the large projects. So they get peer reviewed by themselves. And you watch the standard lift as the architects, the big important architects, men and women, look and check each other out. It's an important point. Raise consciousness. You've got to train. You've got to educate. You've got to inspire. You've got to bring people with you. It's about education in most respects. It's about actually educating the children. Go into schools, into playgroups, start talking about design at that level. When you're 70, 80, 90, it's hard to change, and you can, but it's harder. The older we get, the less creative I think we are. The most creative people are the children. My daughter will make that into a city, but I can't see it. So it's about having that, to being let go, to experiment, like you've talked about this morning. We have a series of Auckland conversations. We invite people from around the world, not just local experts, but international experts. It gives people confidence to try something out, give it a go, makaplan. And then bring change these mindsets, create a behavior change shift. Get data. Because without the data, you can't convince people. Mayor Bloomberg says, in God we trust, but everybody else give me data. And he is an inspiring man who has just driven the change in New York with his team. Monitor, benchmark yourselves against each other and with each other. CCTV photographs, public life surveys, before and after photos. But enable, work with the private sector, co-produce. And so we're producing a how-to guide, and I'll just talk to you about that in a few seconds. So I've talked about the design review process, different individuals and specialists on the design team, not just urban designers. The Auckland Conversations bring the people to Auckland, because when they leave Auckland, they then go out and they tell your story for you. You don't have to travel around the world. They will do it for you. This is the Auckland Design Manual, where we used to have 9 different sets of design guidance. And you all know that You can't get a great building without a great architect, but you certainly won't get a great building without a great client. And you need informed clients. We are all clients, particularly the bureaucracy are clients. And clients have expectations. Here's the client brief, but here's the client budget. And it's this slide cracks me up. But it's so true. It is so bloody true, because people have all these dreams, but actually the budget is quite quite constraining. So you've got to be informed. You've got to be informed, the clients. And so we have a series of design advice and guidance. It's on the internet, it's accessible. We don't print it, because once it's printed, it's static. It's virtual, so it's changeable, it's adaptable. So where to next? And I've got 4 minutes, so we're doing good. But we have a plan for the future. And my team led this plan for the city centre of Auckland. We did it in 9 months, produced a plan. We had 97% public support for the plan. It's unheard of. So the Aucklanders are getting excited about their own city. We had 8 moves. 8 moves, not 25 or 300, 8. So people can remember the 8. It's really important. Stitch the city to the water. And so we have old streets on our waterfront, north-facing on the harbour. It will become a light rail, monorail system with public spaces. We've got the budget. We're going to transform our city. New streets in our central city will become light rails, shared spaces. We have the budget. We're moving forward. We're building an underground system. For the first time in 50 years are we starting to change the way we build. We're going to go underground and build new rapid transport with transit-oriented development above. The city will change. It will transform itself and above the ground. We're reconnecting our parks and streets, and I hope you appreciate that maybe the graphics here. The graphics are really important. How to sell the message, the colours, the typography, it's really important. The old streets, disgusting, ugly, tarmac streets will be changed. And we're doing this. We're going to start this in the next 2 years. A green carpet linking the city, linking the park systems. And new bridges, old disused motorways. I mean, I can see the city. This is the same thing happening here. This is a piece of infrastructure that was used for traffic, but it's no longer used. Car ownership is actually going down in the world. We've got to kind of get ahead of the game. We're going to change it. Just a little bit of paint, start to transform it, and then phase 2 is a cycleway, which will wrap itself around the city, using the motorway for cycling. How about that? And our water city, I showed you the photographs. So look, I think it's clear to see there is good change. We're not perfect at all, but we're on the right track. And we are driving design by not looking for the sort of the hero shots or looking for exploitation or anything. We're looking for achievement and building a cohesiveness and a competence and an excitement and also a confidence that you can do it. Just try. Just give it a try. What we've learned, 2 minutes. So you need a vision. You do need a vision, and it needs to be from the top. And it has to be the 70% vision. Because if you're looking for the 100% perfection, I say to my wife every day, I say, don't look for perfection, darling. I'll have to do. It's don't look for perfection. It's boring. Be the world's most livable city. Be bold. Have a stretch target. Set the distinctiveness. Set the criteria and drive it through. Look for your indigenous group to drive through a personality that is unique to you. Don't copy other cities. Do your own thing. You have your own personalities. You have your own DNA, your own culture. Embrace that. Exploit that in the most positive. Learn to dance, the singing, the joy. That's what we want. You need champions. You do need people to drive, to be a bit unpopular at times, and I guess you have to have wide shoulders. It's a bit lonely sometimes because people don't like what you do sometimes. Everybody wants progress, but nobody wants bloody change. And you've just got to do it sometimes. So drive it forward. The Rugby World Cup, we did it. Nobody wanted it at one point, but we did it, and the city was changed. Build partnerships. Find people like yourselves, like-minded. Hold arms, hold shoulders, do it together. Do it with the businesses. The businesses are the key, but also do it with the private sector and the professionals. Build the industry behind you. Get the backing of the industry behind you. Find partners there. The media are very important. I have a Twitter account. I'm the only person in my organization of an official with a Twitter account. I can say pretty much what I want. I obviously have to be respectful about it, but I'm trying to build a capacity there. And again, the mayor sits behind me and says, it's okay, don't worry, you made a mistake on that tweet. But I do it. I keep doing it. Tell the story. The media are not your friends. The camera's never off, the microphone's never off, but respect them because they are really important to build a positivity. If they're writing negative stories about the city will be negative. It's really important, so build your relationship with your media. And, I did with our team in Auckland, and they said, shared streets, fine, if the balance can be struck. This was important, we got it over the line. Communicate, communicate, communicate. On message, over time, at volume. When you're bored of my voice, then maybe my job is done. But get speakers, bring them to Cape Town, bring them to hear you. We had Jeanette Sadiq Khan from New York. She spoke to 2,700 people. 2,700 Aucklanders came to listen. It took a while, though. So to start small, I spoke at a lunchtime session organised by Richard Perez and Daniel and the team. I spoke to 40 or 50 of the staff in the city council. It was great. I really enjoyed it. More of that. People will come for free. You don't have to pay them. It's an amazing place. Why you give them maybe buy their ticket, but don't pay them. They could maybe find you business. But have speakers. Bring the best, like Jan Gell. Bring him here. Ask him to have a look at your city. Public art. Measure the change. Measure the change. The data. Because people won't believe you until you've actually done it. Take photographs, before and after, exactly the same spot, not a different angle, the same spot. Measure, collect the data, tell the story, and do lots of things, lots of little things. Do big things, everybody points a finger or a gun at it. Big projects are big targets. My approach was lots of small things, done really well, quickly. Take the cars away, don't tell anybody about it. Just redo it quickly. The traffic engineers, the site, you're kind of wondering what's going on. Build new things, little things, beautiful things. Build them beautifully, build them quickly. Get them over the line. People start to say, oh, this is a new city. I didn't realize it. It's a bridge, but it's a new bridge. Change the bus shelters, ugly, sort of disused, full of spit and things. Get them changed, clean them up, polish them. And see the city change, the before and afters, the small little things, the shops that spring up. Get rid of the cars. And again, it's best not to tell anybody what you're doing at times. If you do small things, people don't notice until it's too late. It's like street clutter. It grows until it's too late. And, we're taking away car parking and putting public spaces with chairs and tables, and people are falling back in love with Auckland. It's exciting to be part of. Constantly compete, and I know this competition thing is a bit of a difficult one, but I am quite competitive, and to be honest, cities are competing, whether people like it or not. We're losing lots of young, smart people who think their life is going to be better in Brisbane or Melbourne or Sydney or Cape Town or Vancouver. These are cool cities, so why wouldn't you go? We want them to stay, so constantly benchmark yourself. This is the Lee Kuan Yew Prize for cities. It's inspiring, and it's about challenging yourself against the best. Otherwise, you're just sitting in your own little world with your ostrich head down in the sand. Look at the rest of the world. And I think the design capital thing is a brilliant initiative. Look at Turin when it took this on. Turin with the Fiat. The city was in disarray. It was in decline. What do they do? Design. Can repair, can reveal. It's the revolution. It's the design revolution. So who knows who the next 2018, we'd love to give it a crack, but who knows? It's just participating in this conversation. It's not about winning. It's being part of it. So what is a design-led city? I'm done. It's collaborative. It's got to be collaborative, done with each other, the professions. You've got to embed the design into the DNA, the thinking of everybody. Like in Denmark and Holland, they've done it very, very well in Europe. People at very young age understand design. But change the plans, change the policies, change the people. If the policy is outdated and irrelevant, change the bloody thing. Change it. It's not set in stone. Just go through the process. Empower and excite the people. Get the people involved because they are the energy, they are the skill, they are the creativity. Embed them into the organization and partner with them. Recognize the power of design to bridge the professional divide. We're all very, very professionally anal sometimes. We struggle to talk across the professions. Work together. Be GPs of the city. Don't be hand surgeons or back surgeons or whatever. Be GPs, design GPs. Unleash the creativity of the different industries. Recognize your culture as your point of difference. Celebrate it, exploit it. If that's a horrible word, I don't mean to be horrible. But that's your point of business, your competitive advantage. And building your adaptability to change and resilience. It's about having long-term plans, but I thought the point made earlier was it's got to be adaptable, sustainable plan. It has to alter. Is that me? That's it. The last bullet. it's not prescriptive. Don't copy other people. Cheat, maybe. Use the best of what you've heard, but recognize your own people, your own culture, your own place. And lastly, don't be arrogant. You know, we design things that we think are going to be used by people for a certain thing, and then children come along, and they, as I said to you, children are the most creative people. Where are the children? Let's have a conversation with the children. Thank you very much.